Bloomberg has learnt that US tariffs on copper imports could come within weeks, which would be months earlier than the deadline for a decision. That sent copper trading in New York to a record, with the metal since paring some of its earlier gains. For more, let's bring in Bloomberg's Brian Fowler with the details. Brian, what could be the global impact then of these copper tariffs? We've seen the divergence, and dramatic as it has been, between the pricing in the US versus here in the UK, the LME. The global impact of these potentially 25% tariffs on copper.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is inflation. So as you said, copper was at a record. That's partly because of output stoppages in Chile, but really it's because of notions that these tariffs will kick in a lot earlier than previously thought. And so we've got a lot of companies rushing to get ahead of those duties by front-loading those imports. So there's a supply squeeze in the U.S. As we heard earlier in the show, U.S. prices are higher than they are on the LME, and that puts a lot more pressure on U.S. manufacturers. We've already seen that U.S. manufacturers are paying more for aluminum and steel and other building supplies than their counterparts overseas because of tariffs. This would, of course, increase that burden on them. So we could see U.S. manufacturing lose some of its competitive edge for a short term. The long term, of course, the hope from the Trump administration is that the tariffs will encourage more producers in the U.S. to boost output, and that would reduce the reliance that the U.S. has on overseas suppliers, especially China. But I think, it's right now, it's especially a squeeze in the U.S., but if those tariffs kick in, at 25%, as you say, I think we're going to see inflation go global, really, for all users. And of course, copper is a ubiquitous metal in wiring for everything from houses and buildings to cars and machinery. So it'll hurt everybody.